few minutes.
We are in the kitchen with wrestler and chef Reese Lewis from the Williamsburg Inn this morning, making ale braised boneless beef short ribs with risotto and Brussels sprouts, all part of a March wine dinner special over at the Inn. Welcome back. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Got a lot here in the kitchen, so in between we'll talk about your wrestling career and about this great menu that you have planned for us.
Well, thank you, Charles. Good to have you here today. I used to say that because we do demos and so on. I'm in your house today. But, actually, the title of our event is Pints, Pairings, and Poison Dwarf.
That's fun.
The name Poison Dwarf sounds a little strange, but it's a musical name for the Celtic band, and they are very inspired.
Wow.
It is probably some of the most fabulous music you've ever heard. It really exceeded my expectations the last time that I heard them.
That's great. So you've got a menu kind of working together with the great music.
Yep,
so what are we starting with?
Absolutely, and actually we're at the Lodge. We're at the Williamsburg Lodge.
The Williamsburg Lodge.
Absolutely. So what I've got here is a risotto, and of course you know risotto. It's just it's a borio rice. This is a short grain rice. You can see those small, almost like a sushi style rice.
And you've got chicken stock in here.
Little chicken stock. I have a splash of actually I made corn stock, like with corn cobs and.
You always like to step it up.
Step it up a little bit. You got that little corny taste to it.
I smell it.
Sauteed some onions, little butter. The rice has gone in. The corn stock. Right here.
I'm going to stir for you, Chef.
Yeah, smell that. It smells like corn.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yep.
It sure,
and then
does.
the risotto is actually going to be done. And if you're doing this at home, you can do it to this point, pull it off, put it onto maybe a cookie tray or a low plate, let it cool, cover it with saran wrap, put it in your refrigerator. And that way, right when your guests come, all you need to do is put it back in the pot, splash a little more wine on it, splash a little stock just to heat it up. We're going to fold in some cheese, and this is American Grana from Wisconsin. And Grana is a dry grating style cheese, and the Grana means grainy.
Oh, very
So
nice. I see it right here.
Yeah,
this is the result of the
shaving. You can smell that, and we're going to stir that in. I've got some fresh herbs, and that's going to be the base for our braised meat.
Very, very nice. So where'd the braised meat go? I know you showed it to me earlier.
The braised beef is right here. Of course, this is a slow cook item. And so you can actually, and it's actually
that's beautiful. Now this is time intensive. You need to plan ahead for this.
This is time intensive. You can see that braising here.
What goes in there?
We're going to do that in the next segment.
Oh, okay. I don't want to jump ahead. Are we making something as a complement right now for the risotto?
I've got the risotto.
Okay.
And then we're going to go. We have the Brussels sprouts, and of course I'll do the beef next. We'll get that going, and then we'll do the Brussels sprouts.
Very, very good. And of course we'll talk about the wine pairing over at the Lodge. That kind of is the signature part to all of this. Chef Reese, thank you very much. We'll work on that. We'll braise the beef coming up in the next segment as you continue working on the risotto. Chef, thanks very much.
Thank you.
That was a money shot right there. In the kitchen with Chef Reese Lewis from the Williamsburg Lodge, making ale braised boneless beef short ribs with risotto and Brussels sprouts. You've done quite a bit of cooking since we last checked in with you. What's going on here first? It smells wonderful.
Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, I hate Brussels sprouts. How do I get my husband or my children or someone to eat it?"
I would have to say the whole family says that.
Yeah, well, try it like this. I took the Brussels sprouts, cut them, blanch them in boiling water until they're tender, shock them until they're cold. I've sauteed this, a little bit of butter, shallots that have been peeled and cut up. These are hazelnuts that are toasted. Hazelnuts. You can use almonds if you don't have hazelnuts. Don't worry about it. Pecans, any kind of nut. And this is actually prosciutto ham that was just sauteed and then chopped so it's crispy.
Okay.
So you have that crispy ham. If you don't want to use prosciutto, Virginia ham is great. If you don't want to use that, bacon is great. Who doesn't like bacon? Anything with bacon.
Our Buzz Brigade will say they love bacon.
Like donuts with bacon, it doesn't matter. Anything goes with bacon.
Now this didn't take very long at all.
No.
This is done.
That's done. That's our vegetable.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
And this is the risotto. What I did with the risotto was stir in,
cheese,
some grana, I had some chopped herbs, I splashed a little wine, and I put in some butter. So that's done, and we're ready to go.
Okay.
On this, I'm gonna step just here.
Right, I'll move over here.
Add these to the pot.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. These are
just dump them in. Onions, celery, carrots.
Okay. Is there any oil in here?
A little bit. I'm gonna put a little more in there.
What is that?
Just a little bit of oil, a little butter.
Oh, that's butter.
Yeah, a little butter. And you can see that the color of that's beginning to really develop. Right. We're going to let that develop.
Now, you were telling me about the cut of the meat, but you haven't told folks at home what exactly you use for this.
This is actually called a chuck flap, and it's very, the ribs have been cut away, and it's a very large kind of well-marbled piece of beef, and the marbling gives a great flavor.
Good flavor, right.
What we're doing here is developing the color. You can see that on the bottom of the pan.
Yeah.
And that's going to give you that sauce, that nice look. If I had more time, what I would do is let those vegetables kind of brown up. But for the sake of just time here, we'll have some nice herbs go in, rosemary.
Right.
I've got a couple of bay leaf.
In a perfect world, you'd let that cook just a little bit longer?
Let that cook a little more.
How much longer?
About 15 minutes. I'm going to deglaze a little bit with some wine here.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
You got that. You can smell that now.
Yeah.
The whole studio is going they're well.
Folks are going to be coming into the kitchen in a moment.
Yep. And then I have this is some beef, kind of a stock that we made. I'm going to add a little bit of that to this, bringing up the heat.
You're wanting a boil?
Yep, bring it up to boil. I added garlic.
I imagine that was a special beef stock, but a regular beef stock for folks at home, would that work as well?
I use actually some of those little packages that you can buy that are high quality and, in the paper container, because I don't have time to make beef stock, but I want good food.
Gotcha.
What we'll do then is take this, cover it. You can see that meat's still kind of tough. And that's going to go in here, and you can braise it for about 2.5 hours, 250. You can't forget that the handle's hot.
Right.
When you're taking it out, so sometimes you forget.
So this would be step one, and then this is what it looks like after how long?
That actually was about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
What I did was take the sauce and I blended it in a blender, so the vegetables were kind of blend up. If you want to
like
do
an
that, it
immersion
kind
blender?
of thickens it. Yeah. And so I actually cut the piece of meat in half and to create a smaller portion. But you can taste that. Just a clean spoon. I'll just give you a little teeny bit, so that's hot. You blow on that.
The taste test.
I mean, it's really rich, really beefy.
Yeah, it's
just,
really, really good.
It's kind of
Great
like you
flavor.
remember, beef stew from a long time ago somewhere.
Very, very much a comfort food.
Oh, absolutely,
That's for sure.
absolutely. What
so
we'll do
this
is,
right here, how far is this from being done?
That's done, and I'm actually going to finish this with just a little bit of Tavern Ale. And
That's nice.
What we're going to do, and I know you don't drink on TV, but I want you to try this just with the ale in
Because
there.
the alcohol is being...
Yep. I'm going to just stir
Moving
it up.
off.
I'm going to give you just a little teeny bit. You go
okay.
back your spoon.
Gotcha.
Just put it over there. Yep.
Still have that. Okay.
And you can taste the difference of what that beer does to that.
Oh, yeah.
It just brightens
it
it up.
kind of...
Floral tones, lemon tones.
You know exactly what I'm tasting. Very, very good. So we're going to put all of this together and talk about why you brought in the beer, because there was a reason you brought in the beer into this whole dish. We're going to talk about that coming up in our next segment. Chef, thanks very much. Finishing up this great meal with Chef Reese Lewis from the Williamsburg Lodge. Ale braised boneless beef short ribs, risotto, and Brussels sprouts. And you've kind of plated it very prettily here.
Well, pretty's good.
On
TV,
eyes.
yeah, pretty's good.
I can't wait to try the Brussels sprouts, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a fan of Brussels sprouts. Got a little piece of beef here. I'm going to kind of perch it up, and then I'm going to put a little sauce on top. And, of course, this is like the natural cooking liquids that we have.
Right.
Just a little bit of sauce as it goes over, and it's all you can see how rich that is.
Very nice.
My goodness.
This is an intricate dish that you're sharing with folks at home so they can make it at home, but you don't have to make it at home. You can have you guys make it for them. And I'm holding here in my hand the menu for this Pints and Pairings and Poison Dwarf extravaganza.
Yeah, actually, it's a dinner and a concert. The Poison Dwarfs are fabulous Celtic-inspired musicians.
Right.
They will put on a fabulous stage show. They really, really blew me away last time. And this is a 4-course beer dinner paired with Williamsburg Ale Works beers. Each course has a beer that corresponds to it. And, of course, all that for a mere
$45.
$45 inclusive. Wow.
That's great. I mean, heading into St. Patrick's Day, thinking about that holiday for some, this is really a nice way, date night, quite honestly.
Oh, yeah, date night, guys, right there. Bring it out.
Here
Bring your
it
friends.
Now,
would you like to try a Brussels sprout?
I will try it. I'm going to wait, though. I'm going to wait for my friends, and so we can all have our meal together. Can you talk about the pairings, though? Because that's part of it. The meal is part of it, pairings as well. How did you pick the ones that you have?
What we do is we actually went to the Williamsburg Ale Works. If you have an opportunity to go there, it's obviously located in Williamsburg, and they have a great tasting room, and they'll taste you on a variety of things. We sit there and we write notes on what we think this one is more maybe floral tones or citrus, or this has spice or chocolate or coffee, and identify the characteristics of the beer. And then we come back to the kitchen with the beer, and actually we make some food and try it together and see if we in fact were correct.
Very nice. And then you put them all together for the meal.
Absolutely.
And folks who come to the pairings and pints and Poison Dwarf meal, we'll get a chance to try it all together.
Absolutely. You can see here, this is the Chesapeake Pale Ale, and this is the, what is it? I know it, Tavern Ale. And we're pairing the Tavern Ale with the beef and the Chesapeake Pale Ale with a salad. We actually have one made here for the Charlton Coffee House, which the Coffee House Stout. So those, a lot of these beers were inspired by kind of the history of Kelowna Williamsburg.
Very nice. A lot of history.
Great pairing.
Definite variety, that's for sure. For folks who aren't familiar with the Williamsburg Lodge, and how could you not be? For those who aren't, though, where can they find you?
At 310 South England Street in Kelowna, Williamsburg, Virginia.
All right, very good. And still openings for this wonderful meal?
Oh, yeah. We'll do about, we have, last time we did about 250. So
very nice.
Call and come. It's a great meal. It's great food, and the show is outstanding.
Fantastic. We're going to put the recipe and information on how you can get in touch with them for this meal over at thehamptonroadshow.com.